Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Sophie and I'm the founder of Agnes Studio. If you are familiar with my YouTube channel up until this point, you know that I post videos on DIY and sewing. I have never, up until this point, turned my hand to knitting, and at the end of last year I wanted to learn because I wanted something to do that I can kind of pick up and do a few minutes of, or like take with me somewhere. That's obviously, you can't really do that with a sewing project and isn't just like scrolling on my phone. So for my birthday in October, I got a Wool and the Gang kit, a knitting kit to teach myself how to knit. That's what this video is going to be about. It is definitely not a how to knit video. It is a join my knitting journey as I learn to knit. I've nearly finished the top and I'm by no means an expert and by no means perfect. I made a lot of mistakes and learned from my mistakes. So I'm just going to change my camera battery, and hopefully this is the first of a few more knitting videos. So if you are a massive knitting fan, I need to know everything. Drop all the comments below. Tell me where you buy your wool from, especially if you're vegan. I chose this kit deliberately because it was hemp yarn, and I've been kind of scouring the internet for vegan, cruelty-free yarns and like where to get the best equipment. And when I first opened this kit, I filmed an intro and I filmed my like unboxing, and in that time I must have just deleted a memory card. I've lost that. So I'd say I'm about an hour off finishing this top, so what a great time to film an intro anyway. I am making the Barissa top. I think it's probably quite a good like transitional top. The model on the website is wearing it on its own and it's kind of cropped. I would like to wear it over a white t-shirt or a white shirt and then on its own in the summer. It's not the beginner level, it's the easy level, which I think maybe I should have gone in at the beginner level. It also said it would take 16 hours to make this top. Let me tell you, I started in October. It is the 9th of February today. And it's Thursday, the 9th of... Thank you, Siri. But, let me show you the wool. So it came with 3 balls of this pistachio buddy hemp yarn, and then I needed 3.5mm needles, like circular needles, which I think was probably my first error, being a complete beginner and going for a really thin yarn and really thin needles. But anyway, I really enjoyed making it. It has taken me a long time, and definitely like I learned as I went along, like kind of the impact of drop stitches, and so there is a few things that I need to go back over and kind of like weave back in and perfect. So I'd say it's rustic to be pretty generous. Let's wind this back and get started with the project. Okay, so I've got my yarn and I've got my needles, and what I think I need to do is I need to find an online video of this stitch, and also I need to do a tension swatch. So these are circular knitting needles. I'm too lazy to go upstairs and get a camera stand, so you're on a puzzle box. It is 10:30 at night and I'm just getting around to looking at this because I've just been trying to post a video onto YouTube. But anyway, basically I need to get my yarn onto my needles to start, and although Wool and the Gang have got a great video on how to do the stocking stitch, in their video they show you where your yarn is already prepared on your needle, and obviously I don't know how to do that. So I'm now watching another video on how to cast on. I'm also learning so much new vocabulary today. I'm going to try and figure that out now at 10:30 at night.
Right, so let's do that again.
A slip
right,
knot.
No.
Yeah, I'm just trying to do the tension swatch for the moment, which I think is 24 stitches long. So I'm trying to do this for 24 stitches. So it has been a while since I first started filming this video. I think I first started this top about at the end of October, and it is now 20th of December. A few reasons why it has taken me so long. As you can see, I have redecorated and redone my workspace, and yeah, just been ill and busy and stuff. So I wanted to film a bit more than I currently have. And I think I have said before, this is the first time I've ever knitted anything. So I've done a lot of like, I think I've shown you these instructions before. I've spent a lot of time going back onto YouTube and looking up certain stitches and certain techniques and stuff like that. And I found that like I was watching like a few videos like over and over a couple of times just to like really kind of cement it in my head. So it is not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I have finished the front part of this top, and overall I really like the look of it. There are definitely places, don't know if you can see there, where I have drop stitches and I've got holes, but that was kind of a learning curve for me because I didn't really realise the impact that like 1 or 2 drop stitches would have, and then like you've made up your top and you've got a hole that's like a couple of millimeters wide. So what I'm going to try and do at the end is go back and see if I can repair any of those holes. And there's a few like inconsistencies with my stitches, but I'm not a machine and it is meant to be handmade. I'm also not sure that I've done the neckline correctly because it does look a bit wonky, but hopefully once I've added the kind of neck trim onto it, it should look better. Also, I realised when I was going along, I've made this far too wide. So I think it said to count 110 stitches for the size that I was doing, and I think it ended up like I was doing like 130 or 140, and I was like, this is kind of the time that it's taken me to do an extra like 30 stitches on each row that really must add up over the time of doing this whole project. So I managed to cast some of them off, but it's given me a bit of a funky shape. Anyway, so that is the front done, and I've just started the back. So I have done my long tail cast on, and yeah, now I'm just doing a couple of rows of purl stitches before I get into the main body of doing the stocking stitches. And I really like that I can literally do this anywhere. I can take my knitting, I took my knitting to the hairdressers with me the other day. So at the beginning, I think I told you that it said that this project would take me about 16 hours, was estimated on it. We are way past that at this point. I don't know whether it's because I'm a beginner or, well, I mean, I'm definitely slower because I'm a beginner. And I think ideally I would like to get a lot quicker, because if I was to do another knitting project like this, I need to do it like a season and a half ahead of time to make sure I actually had something to wear. Anyway, I'm going to carry on with the back, and I have a feeling that the back is going to end up looking much better than the front. Now I've kind of learnt from my mistakes of the front, which would just be typical, wouldn't it? So I will keep you updated with my progress. So far on this one, I have done a 1x1 rib for the hem, and then I've done 2 purl stitches, and I did not know what any of these things meant before starting, so I did have to look up on YouTube, and actually Wool and the Gang, who this kit is from, do have really good informational tutorials, because they do actually have written instructions in here as to what each technique is. But I absolutely wouldn't have got it from the instructions. I really needed to watch someone do it, and watch someone do it multiple times and slowly do it myself to realise what I was doing. I'm still working on the back piece of this Britta top. I've done the main body part, which consists of 53 rows, I think it is. Is that rows? Yeah, for the size that I'm making, which roughly measures 18 centimetres from the cast on edge. So now I've got to the point where you start to shape the armhole. So you start to cast off stitches. Sorry, you do like a left leaning decrease or a right leaning decrease every time. Because I've been following my instructions, kind of been like scribbling on the instructions as I go to keep a note. So at the moment I'm working on the back, and I'm knitting 1 stitch, making a left leaning decrease, knitting till I've got 3 stitches at the end of the row. I'm making a right leaning decrease, and I need to do this 12 more times because I think I'm making size 2. So this will be number 1 of the knit. So I'll do the knit stitch 11 more times, but I can count my stitches so I know when I've done it that many times. I was trying to keep like a tally of how many times I've done things like this, but I found that I was putting my knitting down in a hurry and not updating my tally, and then like my tally of the number of rows and stuff that I've got to do
wasn't quite accurate. So just keep counting the number of stitches on the needle to see how I'm getting on. I find it really rewarding when it actually starts to look like a piece of clothing. And there's definitely less drop stitches in the back panel than there was in the front, just as I'm like getting more knowledgeable about what I'm doing, understand the repercussions of drop stitches. So I found a YouTube video, which I will link in the description below, which show me how to patch up the holes. So yeah, I'm going to follow that YouTube video and patch up the holes. So hopefully you won't be able to tell how dodgy a job I've done. I've not long added in my third ball of yarn. I've had to undo my stitches a couple of times for various different reasons. And it's not something that I want to make a habit of. Yeah, I definitely think this was a pearl row. And I've just come back in and started knitting it to see what we can do about that. Sorry, I just realised the baby monitor's been on the whole time. So if you can hear static in the background.
I've knitted the front of my top and I've knitted the back of my top. So what I need to do now is I've put the right sides together, and as per the instructions I need to attach them together using a horizontal invisible seam technique to sew the right shoulder seam together. So I don't actually know how to do that. So what I'm going to do is I am going to see if I can find a YouTube video that shows me how to do that. Okay, so I've joined, I don't know why there's so many tails of thread, I need to tuck them in. I've joined this shoulder seam, but I realised what I've done, as someone that has so much experience with garment construction, I don't really know how I've done this. I've done my seam on the outside because I did the right sides together. So I'm going to do this other side now, and then once I know that I've got that right, I'll go back and I'll fix. Yeah, so I've got my needle and I've got some yarn, and I'm just threading the yarn onto my needle, and then using this invisible seam technique to join them together. And it's a little bit fiddly actually. Hello, back to where we left off. So I am finishing the armhole. I just knitted all the way around, and now I need to do 3 rows of 1 by 1 knit and then cast it all off. So yeah, I will crack on with that. And then what I want to do is places where there's holes where I've dropped stitches, like, I mean, you can tell I did the front first. I want to go back and try and mend those, and I need to weave in all my loose ends as well. Let's go around and do this. Once I finish this, I definitely think I want to go for like an easier knitting project and then like build on my skills. Okay, so I think I've messed up here and I've knitted on the wrong side, because I think I was meant to knit on the front side, but now my yarn's attached to that side. So far I've really been enjoying making this. I have had to like Google every stage or like search videos on YouTube, which, to be fair, Wool and the Gang has loads of videos. This video isn't sponsored, by the way. I've just heard of Wool and the Gang ever since I was at uni, so I felt like they were a pretty good place to start with learning how to knit. But yeah, I literally like looked up all the different techniques, all the different terminologies, because even though like I've obviously worked with a lot of garment construction in the past, like a lot of it was new to me in terms of hand knitting. So it's been really interesting to learn more about that and learn how garments come together. And I feel like it's opened up kind of a whole new avenue of clothing that I can possibly make. So watch this space for lots more videos. And as I get like, I guess, more advanced, more knowledgeable, you know, if you're a complete beginner like me, I will be sharing more of the equipment that I buy and where I found vegan yarns. At the moment I'm thinking that maybe I'll buy second-hand woolen yarns, and then at least I'm not like directly buying wool. There seems to be a lot of, I guess, people buy wool for projects and then never end up doing the projects or have more left over than they thought. So there seems to be a lot kind of on reseller platforms or second-hand sites. So maybe I'll try and pick up some off there. And also like cotton's an option, tensil's an option, recycled wool I guess is an option, then it's not virgin wool at least. So I'm just doing 1 purl stitch and 1 knit stitch. Okay, so I have finished the front. I know it doesn't look very good, and the back. Obviously, like I say, please bear in mind this is the first thing I've ever knitted, and obviously something was going on with my tension and my stitches here. But yeah, all I need to do now is tie up all my loose ends, weave them all in, and then I just want to go back and just neaten a few things up, like these holes and these bits there, try and neaten them up and see if I can improve them, and then try it on and wear it. Enjoy this thing that I've taken months out of my life knitting. Okay, so I finished the top. Yeah, it's definitely more cropped than I was expecting it would be, and this at the back keeps rolling up, which is slightly annoying, but I think it's going to be a cute summer top, or like cute for layering things underneath it. I'm going to play around with a few different ways of styling it. I'm happy with how it turned out. The neck is quite tight for me to get on and off, and that was something I did struggle with, was when you had to pick up so many stitches around the neck and the armhole. I definitely found that like quite hard to do. So yeah, that was something that I found tricky. So I think that's probably what's impacted it. And I think that's part of like me just being a beginner, is I don't really like, not like I don't understand the importance of these things, but like definitely there is a reason why you do everything. And I think obviously a lot of my experience comes from sewing, so I understand the construction of garments from a sewing point of view, but like I've got a lot to learn from a knitting point of view. But I'm excited to learn more and excited to do more projects. I really like the ribbing around the edge of this, even though it's not kind of perfect, but to be honest, what handmade item is, it has character and it has charm, and it's my first, like it's a starting point, and I'm hoping that like I will improve. I'll probably look back on this in a few projects time and be like, oh my goodness, it looks horrendous, but at the moment I'm happy with it and I like it, and I'm looking forward to wearing it in the summer. And yeah, before then I'm just going to layer it up over a few pieces. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's a little bit different to what I normally do, but if you did, let me know in the comments below. If you are an experienced knitter and you have any feedback for me, then drop it in the comments. Hopefully this is a first of a few knitting videos, and I think like getting a kit was a good way to start, because I didn't know anything about wool or wool weights or anything, or needles, so it was kind of all spout out for me. And even like down to like reading and understanding a knitting pattern is so different to a sewing pattern, so it's almost like, dare I say, like learning a different language. But obviously YouTube and videos and stuff have been massively helpful. So but yeah, it's good to learn a new skill, and it's good to try out a new creative project. I'm looking forward to doing new projects. I've got Tom Daly's book for Christmas, so I've already like seen a few things that I want to make, and looking for my next knitted project. Thank you so much for watching. I will be back soon with another video. But be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel so you never miss another video like this. Thank you. See you later.